So today we're diving into a really incredible piece of agricultural technology that's coming out of Senegal. It's called Pulsar Smart Agri. And, it's so much more than just a gadget. It's a fundamental rethinking of what it means to be a small-scale farmer in the 21st century. And really, this question is at the heart of the entire project. It's all about shifting from an agriculture based on just getting by to one that's all about building a real, prosperous business. So let's dig into how they're trying to make that a reality. But, to really get why what Pulsar is doing is such a big deal, we first need to understand the kind of dilemma that farmers across Africa are facing. What are the core challenges they're up against, day in and day out? And look, for millions of farmers, this isn't just a list on a slide. This is their everyday reality. We're talking about the constant stress of managing water, watching your soil get worse year after year, and having basically no hard data to make good decisions. On top of all that, you're often cut off from the big markets where you could get a fair price. It makes the whole traditional way of farming incredibly fragile. So when you're up against problems this big, this complex, well, a simple fix just isn't going to cut it. What you really need is a whole new mindset, a totally new philosophy for what farming can even be. And boom, here it is. This quote from Pulsar's CEO, Abdul, just nails it. This isn't just some catchy slogan either. It's a complete strategy that looks at the entire agricultural value chain from seed to sale. And when you break it down into these three pillars, you really see the ambition here. This goes way beyond just growing crops a bit better. It's about building a whole resilient ecosystem, using tech to be smarter in the field, then creating more valuable products right there on site, and finally, using digital tools to connect those products to a much bigger market. All right, so that's the big idea. Now let's get into the nitty-gritty, the technology itself. How does Pulsar actually make that produce smarter vision happen? Well, it all starts with data. Okay, this diagram might look a little technical at first glance, but the journey it shows is actually super simple and incredibly powerful. You've got data coming from a sensor in the dirt, it shoots up to the cloud where an AI model chews on it, and then it comes right back down as a clear, simple recommendation on the farmer's phone. Let's break down how that actually works on the ground. So think of the hardware as having three main jobs. First, you've got the senses, this advanced 8-in-1 sensor that's reading exactly what's going on in the soil. Then you have the brain, a little solar-powered computer that processes all that info. And finally, you have the voice, which uses modern networks to send that information up to the cloud. And here's what the whole setup looks like out in the wild, so to speak. You've got the solar panel for power, the central Pulsar Infinite box, which is the brains of the operation, and the valve that it actually controls. It's designed to be a completely standalone, self-sufficient unit that can work in really remote places. Okay, so this is all pretty impressive tech, and it's collecting a ton of data. But what does that actually mean for the farmer on the ground who just wants to know, hey, should I water my crops today or not? Well, this is where the magic happens. The whole point is to take all that complicated data, soil moisture, nutrients, local weather, you name it, and just boil it down to one single actionable instruction. For instance, in this specific example, right from their platform, the AI model crunched all the numbers and came back with a super precise answer. Water for exactly 25 minutes. Not a minute more, not a minute less. That right there is precision agriculture in action. It saves water, it saves time, and it makes sure the plant gets exactly what it needs to thrive. And what's really cool is that this isn't some one-size-fits-all system. It's actually versatile enough to give that same kind of tailored advice for a huge variety of crops, whether you're growing vegetables, cereals, or legumes. And it goes even deeper than that. It's not just about what you're growing, but where you're growing it. The AI model adapts its advice based on the specific type of soil you have, from sandy loam all the way to heavy clay. That level of customization is what makes it so effective. But here's the thing, as cool as the smart watering technology is, that's just the tip of the iceberg. It's really the foundation for something much, much bigger. You can think of that smart irrigation system as the foot in the door. It solves a huge, immediate problem for farmers, which is great. But the real long-term vision for Pulsar, well, that's way more expansive. What they're building is a whole digital ecosystem around the farmer. This isn't just about growing things anymore. It's about getting access to financing for equipment, selling your produce on an e-commerce platform, connecting with other farmers on a social network. It's a complete 360-degree support system. Now, this next part is absolutely crucial. Pulsar gets that amazing tech is pretty much useless if people don't or can't actually use it. You need a human touch to make it all work, and that's exactly where the Xena agents come in. And they solve that with over 500 of these Xena agents. These are local people who are trained to be the bridge between the technology and the community. They provide training, they offer support, and they help get local businesses and co-ops plugged into this digital ecosystem. It's how they make sure nobody gets left behind. So when you put it all together, this advanced technology combined with this really deep community focus, you end up with a pretty powerful and inspiring conclusion about what this whole project really represents. And maybe this is the most important takeaway of all. This is not a solution that was imported from somewhere else and just kind of adapted. Nope, this was born on the continent, designed by African engineers to solve African challenges. And that sends a massive message about technological autonomy and local empowerment. And that kind of leaves us with one big final question to think about. When you see a model that combines cutting-edge tech, real social impact, and a clear vision of self-reliance, is it just changing agriculture? Or is it maybe sketching out a whole new blueprint for development for an entire continent? If you want to learn more about Pulsar's incredible work and follow what they're doing, you can check out their website. Thanks so much for tuning in.